Okay. And so my question to you today is, are you healthy or are you just not sick? Okay. I think a lot of people don't understand that just because you're not sick does not mean that you're healthy. But what does health really entail? Because there are actually 5 parts to being healthy. There's your physical health, there's your mental health, there's also your emotional health, social health, and as they say, your spiritual health. So you have to actually pay attention to all 5 parts of your health, if you will, in order to be truly healthy. A lot of people, when they talk about health, they just talk about the physical aspect of health, and which is the exercise and nutrition, and don't get me wrong, that is, for a better part, a lot of it dictates a lot of other things. That particular angle of health dictates a lot of things, but it's not the end all be all, because I know some people who are physically healthy, right, but are emotionally or mentally or socially unhealthy. So when it comes down to mental health, what does that mean? That's your emotion, your social and your psychological well-being. It's actually your perception of the world and everything that's going on around you, your mental health. And a lot of people suffer with mental health issues. Unfortunately, even when you see some very accomplished athletes, you'll find that some of them have mental health issues. Some of them have esteem issues, self-esteem issues. You see that a lot in fitness and bodybuilding. You see a lot of people have self-esteem issues, and so the outward appearance looks great. But inwardly, they suffer from depression. They're always seeking attention from people and stuff like that. And those things are not healthy, because that means you're lacking something inside of you that makes you, act in that way. Okay, so your mental health is very, very important. Your mental health is also tied into your emotional health. Your emotional health is how you control your thoughts, your actions. One thing, some people have mental health issues and they have things going on in the back, but they don't really, you don't know, because they don't let it out. But that emotional health, your ability to control your thoughts and how your thoughts how your thoughts control the things that you say and do. So some people have issues with their emotional health. You find some people, their emotions are up and down, as opposed to being even keeled. That's something that I've always had my entire life, is the ability to be very even keeled, no matter how good or bad things were. But because I learned perspective and balance in life at an early age, and I've adopted that and applied that to every single situation. So in as much as I never get extremely down, I never go to high peaks and anything like that. Don't get me wrong. I do get excited. I do have fun. But you find people who suffer from things like, manic depression. They have these wide swings, and that can be tied to mental and emotional health. Okay. The other thing is social health. Your ethics, your morals, and how it affects you in building interpersonal relationships with other people. Are you healthy in that arena? Do you find yourself being able to build long-lasting, great relationships with people? Are you able to relate to people? Okay? Are you able to relate to people? And that a lot of people find that difficult, because somehow their ability to process their mental, their emotional health affects the way that they deal with people socially. And so you'll find people, once again, who can be in perfect physical shape, but they will have issues building and making friends and keeping friends and what have you, because they have issues mentally and emotionally. So they don't connect with people as well, because they somehow are not able to adapt or able to meet people and take things in and be able to, to be personable. It's almost like, not to equate people to like a dog, but sometimes you have dogs and dogs don't play well with others. Some people don't play well with others, and that's usually a sign of some kind of issue with people's health. Their ability, once again, to interact, to build these social and these interpersonal relationships with people. But the last part of health, that is the most important part that I think people a lot of time miss, okay, is that spiritual health. What is your spiritual health like? Okay. And that spiritual health, we talk about spiritual health all the time, but we talk about it in another way. We talk about whether or not you're living a life of purpose. How do you feel about your overall life? How do you feel inside? Are you fulfilled? Because that lack of spiritual health, that lack of living a purposeful life, that lack of having some kind of meaning to your life, then turns around and undermines everything else that you do. Okay? And that spiritual health creates balance between everything else, right? And so that's the question once again, are you healthy? And when you're thinking about that question, are you healthy? You have to really think about all those things, your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, your social health, and last but not least, sometimes the most important is going to be your spiritual health, all right? And a lot of people miss that boat. But, it takes a little time, once again. It took me time to really sit down and break down all 5 portions of my health, and give each one attention. My ability to once again be physically fit. I never really had an issue with being physically fit. I did have an issue with my nutrition earlier on in my life because I was living off the luxury of youth and genetics. But after a while, I had to get that in order. And then my mental health, my mental health, everybody has issues sometimes mentally, not necessarily that I had issues as in sick, but sometimes you have to get your mental health there where you are all in, and then my emotional health is very important, so mental health was making sure my thoughts and everything were lining up. Okay, my emotional health was controlling my thoughts to the point where I could actually, deal and move through, without having these spikes and stuff in the way I act. And then social health, how then do you take all of that and bring it out to people, and say, hey, this is who I am, in a healthy way that benefits not only you, but also them as well. But last but not least, how do you feel about it all? How do you put it all together? How do you balance all that and yet feel as if you are living your life on your terms? And that is a purposeful life. That is your spiritual health. So I want you to consider that when you ask yourself that question. Ask yourself that question. Am I really healthy? Okay? And understand that your physical health controls all 5 of them, right? But your spiritual health balances them all out. And you have to be balanced across the board in order for everything to be, for you to really be healthy, So you can't be overweight in one department. And you have a lot of people who are overweight in one department. You have some people who have great social health, all right? But because of their physical health, their social health is going to suffer. You have some people who may have great spiritual health, right? But because their lack of physical health and social health and or mental and emotional health, it's going to suffer. So it's very, very important. I think spiritual, in a grand scheme of things, your spiritual health is what matters the most, right? But I think your physical health affects you the most, if that makes sense to you guys, But don't get me wrong, your mental health is extremely important because that's what that's kind of the almost not the engine behind everything, but that's your perception of yourself is very, very important, and that's that mental and that spiritual health, There you go. It's the key that gets into the door. There you go. There you go. So being able to strike a good balance between them, it's what is going to make you healthy. All right. And, that's all I have for you guys as far as that's concerned. But, today, where we are right now in our society, being healthy, truly healthy, is important. Okay. And also being able to check off all the boxes. All right. Being able to check off all the boxes of health to say, hey, you know what, I'm healthy in this department, healthy in that department. And don't get me wrong, sometimes a detox is necessary in all 5 areas. So a lot of times we keep talking about detoxing your body and cleansing your body and stuff like that, but you do have to cleanse yourself mentally, socially, and spiritually as well. All right? There are some things and people in your life that are contaminating you. There are some thoughts and practices in your life that are contaminating you. There are some things that you do on a daily basis that are toxic. Not necessarily toxic to your body. You know, you might be eating well and sleeping well and everything like that, but you're taking the wrong type of information. You're watching the wrong shows. You're listening to the wrong type of music. And these things are poisoning you mentally. And then therefore that mental toxicity goes to emotional toxicity. That emotional toxicity then leads to social toxicity. And it's hard to be toxic emotionally, mentally, and socially and expect to find spiritual balance. It's not going to happen. All right? You're not going to happen. So you got to, make sure that you guys that understand that. And I love the fact that you guys are on the call and you guys reach out to each other. I love seeing that. Sometimes I'm trying to talk and I'm reading some of the comments, but I appreciate that people on this call ask other people, how are you doing? Okay? That is huge to me. It is huge to me that we've created somewhat of a community, if you will, where people ask each other, how are you doing? People offer to call each other. People are happy to see each other on the call. That is monumental. All right? Because right now, at this time, just being able to, like I said, I was saying to Miss Capricorn Key last week, being able to just have a video chat with someone, just to see how they're doing, just to talk to them, You're right, Cutie. Support is everything, being able to support people, because a lot of people are going to take this rough, because the truth is, very few people have been through this before. Like I said, I shouldn't say I've had the luxury, because this is never fun, but at least I have the experience of being through, martial law or war or something like that. I've seen that. So not to shrug it off, but, I kind of understand how this goes, but a lot of people, their very first time, and people make fun of people and the things that they're buying and the things they're doing, but the truth is that people are under stress and they just don't know. People don't know what their next day is going to look like. A lot of times people are very habitual. Right now what scares people the most is that you don't know what to expect. Okay? And that's understandable. A lot of people just don't know what to expect. People don't know how they're going to function for 3 weeks without sports and without being able to move freely, and trust me, it's all about establishing, like I told you guys the other day, establishing structure, putting yourself on a routine. This is one of the best times to work on your overall health, because you can work on your physical health, you can detox and cleanse your body, you can work on your nutrition while you're sitting at home eating better. The other thing you can work on is, getting your mind right, questioning yourself, saying, is this what really matters? Is this true? Learn how to question yourself, question your beliefs, question the things that have been holding you back. Look at your emotions, look at how you act. The other day I posted about being toxic. Sometimes we are the toxic people that we talk about. Look at your actions. Do you find yourself consistently complaining all the damn time? And if you're complaining all the time, then you're the toxic person. Find some kind of positive thing. Talk about positive things, because right now there's enough negative going on outside. Nobody needs negativity in their house or in their life.